Okay, so while we talk about this question, is God logical? There's this other idea floating around out there that Catholics use sometimes called the uncaused cause or the first cause. Thomas Aquinas kind of brought that into the Catholic tradition, coming from Aristotelian philosophy. And it's just this sense that, that there must be a God using logic and understanding where things come from. So, just give you a quick analogy. Here's a cup of coffee, really good cup of coffee, right? Now, this cup of coffee, if I told you that it just spontaneously appeared in my hand, no one would believe me, right? But if I told you someone made this coffee, you would believe someone made the coffee. Because coffee doesn't cause itself to exist. There must be some power out there greater than this cup of coffee that transcends the power of this coffee for this coffee to come into existence. So there must be a transcendent power. And if I told you that that transcendent power was a girl named Jen at Starbucks who made the coffee, you'd probably believe me that a girl named Jen made the coffee. Or at least, even if you didn't believe in her by name, you would believe that some person, some transcendent power, made this coffee, because coffee doesn't just exist on its own. It doesn't pop into existence. Well, it's the same thing with the sun, the moon, and the stars. Planets don't just spontaneously exist. Some transcendent power that is more powerful than a planet must cause a planet to exist. But let's leave inanimate objects for a second and talk about animate objects, like people. There must be a power that transcends the power of people, because people exist. And in fact, there must be a power that transcends life and death itself, because life and death exist. So there must be a power that transcends even that. The interesting thing as you start to think of these things is that, my goodness, that power that transcends life and death sure sounds a lot like Jesus Christ from a Christian perspective. But at least you'd have to accept it really fits the definition of what we would call generically God, no matter what tradition you were coming from or what worldview you were coming from. You would say that's God. That uncaused cause, or that first cause that made everything, would be God by definition, regardless of whatever else you understood about God. Just like, some person must have made this coffee. Maybe you don't buy into it being Jen, but you would buy into a person making this coffee. And that's called the uncaused cause. And Catholics move into that idea of an uncaused cause being God pretty smoothly and easily too. Hope this helps.